Welcome to The Blue Dot, Northern Kentucky's premier political podcast, brought to you by the Kenton County Democratic Executive Committee.
Welcome back to the Blue Dot podcast for our weekly roundup, where we deliver you all the news you need to know in 10 minutes or less, because unlike the current Republican Congress, we like to get things done efficiently. Thanks so much for joining. I'm Natalie MacDonald.
And I'm Brian Koehl. Well, it is back to school season, and while parents are rejoicing all across the Commonwealth, Democrats have not stopped working to defend public education in the state.
That's right, Brian. We will get into that. The executive order Governor Beshear signed related to data centers, Fort Wright's scuffle with Walmart over drones, and a city council member in the hot seat in Highland Heights. But before we do so, I just want to take a minute to round up all of our most recent podcasts and give a sneak peek into what's to come.
Yeah, that's a great idea because the Blue Dot podcast has been really busy. We recently had Representative Adam Moore, who flipped House District 45, and he brings a voice to our veterans, data center expansion, and election integrity.
Yeah, we also had Representative Ann Gay Donworth, who holds the House District 76 seat. She really dove into what Kentucky could look like with more Democratic representation by being a champion on reproductive rights, healthcare, and education, which is, again, perfect timing as we are going back to school.
Yep. And while those two guests are seasoned and current elected representatives, we've got voices of the future of the party coming up on the podcast as well. We have Ezra Anglin from the High School Democrats scheduled in.
And we'll also have Blair Hayden on the show to discuss Emerge Kentucky and all the work they do to train and support women to run for office. So we certainly have been busy and so much more to come as we get closer to Election Day. But first, as you said, Brian, it is back to school. And as mentioned, we spoke to Representative Donworth, who had a lot to say about the need for pre-K for all.
Yeah, I mean, as we all know, it's a hugely popular initiative in the state, but it did not pass the Republican supermajority in Frankfort. That did not stop Governor Beshear from fighting. If you remember, in June 2025, Beshear signed an executive order establishing the Pre-K for All Advisory Committee to explore support for universal pre-kindergarten programs in Kentucky.
Yeah, thank goodness he did that, because that committee opened the door to a pre-K pilot program in some school districts. And this week, Governor Beshear expanded pre-K for all to a 5th school district. And that's not all the Democrats are doing this week, which was August 10th through 16th. Kentucky Democrats are holding a statewide food drive to help families during the back-to-school season. So check with your county party to see how you can help.
Yeah, I mean, that's so important in these current times where everything is so expensive and food prices are way up. Democrats continue to support funding public schools and paying teachers well. On the flip side, instead of doing anything to lower costs, the GOP is taking more from Kentucky families, and Republicans are promising to end the Pre-K for All pilot programs.
Again, it's something that everybody wants. So
it makes too much sense.
It's crazy. And then we have another issue that's drawing significant attention, and that's the ongoing debate over data centers. And in response, Governor Beshear recently signed an executive order aimed at preventing potential negative impacts from these developments while encouraging greater transparency and communication between developers and local communities. And again, that's the transparency people are looking for.
That's right. The governor announced the order during a Team Kentucky press conference on August 6th, outlining new expectations for both proposed and future data center projects across the state. Under the order, developers must demonstrate that their projects will not cause utility rates to increase before receiving approval, and it also prevents utility providers from passing project-related costs onto customers through higher rates.
Yeah, all of these development issues going on and bringing it back here closer to home. Again, we talk a lot about being involved at the local level, and an interesting topic cropped up this week in Fort Wright, which was a reminder as to why this is so important. The city is looking at regulations for delivery drones and drone stations, which could make it the first city in Kenton County to formally address the issue.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that the conversation started after Walmart explored the possibility of operating delivery drones from its Fort Wright location, setting up a showdown between a quiet city and a huge corporation.
Yeah, I'm sure we're going to see this with Amazon as well. So I don't really think it's as much about Walmart, as it is preparing for the future. These technological advances like the drones and the AI centers will undoubtedly become more common as we move forward. So, Brian, that really begs the question, do local governments wait until the new technology is here and widespread, or do they try to create a plan and rules before it arrives at the doorstep?
That's a tough order to plan something like that in advance and try to be prepared for it. But we are seeing drone delivery, continuing to expand nationally. Companies involved in drone delivery have announced plans to grow their operations, which means Northern Kentucky is probably going to be dealing with this issue sooner rather than later.
Yeah, especially this area is kind of a hub for supply distribution as well. So it's going to be
That's right.
Interesting. And it's one of those situations, there's positives and negatives. Some people love the faster deliveries, which, I have been guilty of that. But on the other hand, we need to start worrying about noise and privacy. And gosh, do we want drones flying overhead? I think nobody likes that, right?
Right.
So this is going to be a debate that's likely to end up in the hands of our leaders at a very local level. So make sure you get out there and support and elect Democrats at every level, from your city council to your county commissioner to the federal House and Senate seats, because we're going to need a seat at the table.
Yeah, today it's delivery drones. Tomorrow it could be another emerging technology that cities have to deal with. And one thing that city of Highland Heights is having to deal with, unfortunately, right now, is calls for one of their city council members to resign.
Yes, indeed. So council member Jesse Hockenberry is not only on the Highland Heights City Council, but in October of 2025, the Campbell County Republicans named him as their treasurer. And the reason why Highland Heights is urging him to resign is because he was charged with sex abuse and entered an Alford plea.
Yeah, an Alford plea is a type of guilty plea in which a defendant maintains his or her innocence, but acknowledges that the prosecution has enough evidence that a jury would likely convict them. Not really. That's a fine line they're drawing there.
Right.
According to court information cited in local reports, Hockenberry received a 90-day jail sentence that was conditionally discharged for 2 years, meaning he will not serve jail time unless he violates the court's conditions. He was also ordered to have no contact with the complainant and maintain a specified distance from her home and workplace.
And gosh, what a mess. I mean, there's so many of these instances popping up with people in politics. So I'm glad that people are standing up and finally saying that this is something that has to stop.
Totally agree.
The council agreed to move forward with a public hearing to remove him from office and have him withdraw his reelection effort if he doesn't do so voluntarily. But under Kentucky law, elected officials are entitled to a hearing before removal for alleged misconduct.
Yes, and I have to say that it is usually men who are committing these crimes and acting in this manner, and this is a really good reason to elect more women to office. You can help do that. Yeah, that's one of the many reasons. You can help to do that by joining the Kenton County Democratic Women's Club brunch this Sunday from 12 to 3 at West 6th Brewery in Covington, where they are offering tasty bites, games, prizes, and good vibes to support Kenton County candidates.
Yes, and then on August 20th, you can join Emerge Kentucky alumni for a networking reception. And this is a time where you can reconnect with former classmates. If you are an alumni, you can meet fellow Northern Kentucky alum and network with women who are working in politics, running for office, or looking to get more involved. So this is going to take place at the Florence Lion Club from 6 to 8 p.m. And I myself am an alum, and so is our Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman.
That's going to be a great. Yeah, that's going to be a great event and a lot of great networking opportunities for women who are, interested in getting more involved in politics and just in, helping to move things forward in the Commonwealth. And finally, if you like to play golf, or like me, if you just like to drive the cart around and act like you golf, I don't even go that far. The Northern Kentucky AFL-CIO Labor Council is holding its annual golf outing on Friday, August 21st at DeVue Golf Course in Covington. And if you can't golf, like me, you can donate. More information for all these events can be found on the Kenton Dems website at kentoncountydemocrats.org.
Great stuff, Brian. Great stuff. And so much is going on right now. But for us, our 10 minutes are up today. Until next time, stay curious, keep the facts in focus, and never stop fighting for what matters. Peace out, everybody.